私にはできやん。なんか全部が変や。
Voice acting from the girl, very good. Her kind of like voice breaking in that moment. You know, I'm not that big of a pussy, but like for a second, got to me. I'm not gonna lie. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to some more The Summer Hikaru Died. Episode 12. The final episode, I believe, of the first season, I guess. Or maybe the end of the show, I don't know. Now previously, while investigating Hikaru's whole situation, Hikaru himself lost control yet again. But this time, he really lost control and actually borderline attacked Yoshiki in their school building. Hikaru realized what was going on before anything happened, but clearly was shooketh and has now started considering leaving, going to the mountain to keep Yoshiki safe. Let us just get into episode 12, the final episode, and see what happens. I mean, this is ultimately the question. You know, are you going to do it for the greater good, or are you not going to do it? Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Yoshiki, 調べ物はもう終わったんか?
まだや。もう少し本借りるけど。
うん。好きなだけ読んだらええよ。
来るんはえし。夏休み楽しみにしすぎかよこの子の。
ちゃうの？
腕の具合はどうなん？
ああ、まあまあ治ってきとる。部活はまだ休んどるけど。
夏休みやな。
Considering they're so, I don't know, laid back with this so far, like maybe it's not the last episode. Maybe I guess I'm just gonna have to check. Nope, it's definitely 12 episodes, but apparently it is the first season. I want to say that it's like a little bit of because so the ending of seasons, whether it's like a kind of a mid-season finale, you know, part 1, part 2 type of shit, or an ending of the first season, in my opinion, the last 2 episodes of a season should be very exciting, because you obviously want to finish the season with something epic, something really exciting, something really cool, so that people would come back for the second season, right? Now, I'm not saying it has to be action or anything, but it should be something exciting, something tension-filled, something interesting. So them kind of, once again, going back to the school, you know, everyday school stuff is a little, like, is it necessary? It's very, very light-hearted for the last episode of the season. Of course, it could just be that, you know, the source material doesn't really have any kind of, like, mid-season finale or, you know, some sort of climactic moment that they can just leave the first season off on. So, you know, it is what it is, unfortunately. Ultimately, it is an adaptation of a source material, so it's like... Which is why, in many ways, I've always thought that anime originals are always superior.
Shiki サボっとってずるいの。
クソしとったって言えば許されんで。
どうも。
Okay.
今日は武田さんに話があって来たんですよ。
And there's that guy.
脳抜き様ね。あれ。最初から存在してないんです。この村が作り上げた架空の神ですよ。
Well, that's kinda true.
インド家の儀式なんて 全くの無意味だったんですよ。
That's actually also what I predict. Well, I didn't predict it, but like that's what I assumed from last episode.
もっと根本的な原因があったんです。僕が何とかする予定なんで、うまくいけば村人全滅は防げるでしょう。
あー、風が気持ちいい。宿題やる？
私は最初の1週間で終わらせてまうで。ゆうちゃんはいつも最終日に泣きながらやっとる。
俺もちゃんとやろう。勉強楽しいし。
あのさ、やっぱり光やないよね。この前見てまったんよ。光がいつもの光やなくて、声も
朝子さ、前からさ、そういう俺に直接言わん方がええよ。アホやろ。
うん言わんよ、誰にも。光が光やないの怖いし変や。ヨシキがそれでもいつも通りにしとるのも変。私にはできやん。なんか全部が変や。でもね、なんでか今の光のこと全然嫌いになれやんの。
朝子の耳壊してしもうたのに。
そうやそうや。
I'm not gonna lie. Voice acting from the girl, very good. Her kind of like, you know, almost like voice breaking in that moment got to me. I'm not gonna lie. For a moment, for an instant, right? I'm not one for you know, I'm not that big of a pussy, but like for a second, you know.
ヨシキと約束したから。誰も殺さんってのも。
本当に人やないんやね。なあ、光はどっかで生きとったりしやんの？
しやん。もうこの体したいんやね。
そっか。なんとなくそうやろなって。
そっか。光はこうやってみんなに悲しんでもらうべきやったんや。俺がおるから誰もこうやって悲しまへん。それは光の願い通りやけど、もし俺がおらんかったら、ヨシキはみんなと一緒に悲しんで、今より苦しくなかったんかな。そしたらみんなで前向いて、ちゃんと大学のこととか考えて楽しく過ごせたんかな。
That's actually true. That is actually true. Everything he just said is true. Now, maybe not the last part of like, you know, them being better off without him, but like everything before that, very true, very true.
悪いことしとったんやな。ごめんな。
But fuck, I'm glad that we're seeing the exact thing that I wanted to see, which is Hikaru doing things on his own, talking to other characters on his own. Just immediately makes me like the character more. Just in general, both of them dealing with other characters, such a breath of fresh air. Just feels so good.
ヒカル、どうしたん？
よ、今から出かけ。
Did they ever explain whether or not other people can see the line on his neck? Same with the mark on Yoshiki's hand as well.
いちいち気にしてられんわ。俺もお前んことさしたし、お互い様
It's
や。
getting worse.
強がりや。
今日誘ってくれて助かった。居場所に執着する気持ち。
That's interesting.
わかる。
Taking
俺にも
real
昔は
footage?
ナースやって思いたい。
Or it could be AI.
ここや
You
な
never know
場所
these days.
え？
これんする。
カラ浮き輪って言ってたんやろ？ほんまにそれでええん？
いや、一番可愛いなって言うとったし、ぴったりやろ。めちゃくちゃ邪魔や。
空気ねえで畳めばええに。
なんかかわいそうやろ、オオサンショウウオが。
情愛とる。
They're doing the thing again, where, you know, they're showing a lot of happy moments, most likely because they're preparing for something sadder.
忘れとって最近少しずつ思い出したような。特に願いを叶えるって話。何でも願いを叶えてやれる気がする。
ビッグマウスやな。本当に何でも。
うん、ええよ。
別に。
Yeah, good idea.
ナヌキ様のことが分かってもさ、肝心の汚れをどうにかする方法が分からん。なんとかせんと。村も町も。あのスケッチも一体、次から次へと分からんことが出てくる。
なあ、こんなとこでずっと考えとってもしゃあないで。今から海行かん？一回くらい見ときたいね。
I guess, yeah, he's preparing to go back to the mountain. I wonder if that's what they're gonna leave off on. Maybe the hunter guy is gonna... I still don't know his name, by the way. Maybe the hunter guy is gonna... They're gonna have a little confrontation, and then he's gonna be like, look, I'm gonna go to the mountain. And then the two of them have to say goodbye and everything, and then Yoshiki might be like, I swear I'm gonna keep thinking about this, I'm gonna solve the problem so you can come live with us again, and blah blah blah, stuff like that.
海行く約束ちゃんと果たしたな。朝子やマキやユウキは今何しとるかな。
さあ、
合唱コン出やんくて怒ったりしとったかな。もし出とったら楽しかったり
Jesus, these flags. He's throwing up so many
だってさ
flags.
この胸を踊らせる未来こそ今ってとこが熱いやん。
I'm surprised. Okay, most likely Yoshiki has already figured it out, considering the amount of fucking flags he's throwing out.
歌うん？
引き寄せてごらん。
歌詞が全然ちゃう。
俺は死に際の光の誰も悲しまなければええのに、ヨシキを一人にさせたない。そういう願いを叶えたからこうなった。
ヒカルの？
でも悪い、その願いは多分果たせやん。俺山に戻ろうと思うね。
Very adult for him to tell Yoshiki this. Just have a conversation about it.
ヨシキを襲ってしまうのはさ、多分俺の本性が出たからやね。自分の空っぽな部分を埋めたくて魂が欲しくなる。人にはようわからんよな。もともとこういう存在なんやと思う。人もたくさん殺しとるし、また殺してしまうかもしれん。でも屋敷は殺したないから。 ちょっと待て。俺が山に戻ればさ、ヨシキが生きてる間くらいは平和になるはず。は？無理やろ、あかんやろ。何のために必死で調べて。バケモンはおらんくなって、お前はヒカルの死を受け入れて人として生きていくんや。めでたしめでたし。お前ここにいたんやろ。そうやないの。俺に渡した半分はどうすんの。死なへんお前が簡単にその体から離れられんのか。ほら結局具体的なことは決まっとらんや。そんな無計画な話に乗れんわ。それしかうっせないやろ。何が正解かもわからんけどさ。そんなことまで覚えんでもええわ。涼しいままで俺や。
I mean, I wanna say he is right, but on the flip side, I also wanna say he's wrong. Because it's like, on one hand, you know, when it comes to like stories, you know, I would be like, oh, just fuck them all, right? Just do whatever the fuck you want, right? But then, you know, the adult in me comes out and is like, thinking like that is kind of naive.
ヒカルはさ、聖火が好きやったけど、俺はアイスが一番好きや。しかもガチガチくんやなくてパピッコな。多分俺のが猫好き。あと映画もつまらん映画なんて一つもなかったわ。ヒカルは勉強嫌いやったけど俺は好き。まあできへんのやけどな。やめろって。俺はさ、やめてください。ヨシキとおるのほんまに楽しかった。お前にとってはヒカルの代わりやったかもしれんけど、こんな俺にたくさんのもんをくれた。俺はヨシキが大好きや。この気持ちは恋でも友情でもないんやろな。きっと人間のどの感情ともちゃう。それでもさ、ちゃんと俺の気持ちやで。ヒカルやなくてバケモンの俺の。違う、普通になれやんくて。バケモンは息がしづらくて、俺や自分自身をずっと隠してきた。やからこいつが救われてほしいって。結局ただのエゴやん。
True.
俺はヒカルのため、村のためって責任転嫁してやけになって、結局全部自分のためやんか。よしき、今までありがとうな。違う、代わりとかっちゃう。お前諦めとるだけやろ。前向きにとか今さら押し付けてくんな。ヒカルの選択は何も間違ってない。お前のためにどんだけ頑張ってきたと思っとんねん。俺とは違う、本物のバケモンなんやから。俺やって帰りたないわ。
I mean, okay, it's getting a little too what's the word? Unbelievably exciting, perhaps. I liked the conversation that they were having, but now it's turning into this kind of like shouting match, which is like, never been a fan of those. I mean, I get it, they want to have like a, you know, as you can see, big conflict, but it's like, well,
お前とヒカルと一緒に。眩しい日差しがまたくしたからヒカルの代わりなんかやないよ。俺はただお前に消えてほしないだけの最低の自己中クソ野郎や。 今さらやそんな言われてもさ。
お前さ、これから
あははオオサンショウをあんなとこまで流されとる。ほら家に持って帰らんとカオルがなくで。
いらんわ。あんまま遠くまで流されれば
屋敷の方がガキやな。
Hmm. Oh. You leave it off there? Well, son of a bitch. God fucking damn it. That's definitely a place to leave off on. I'm sure from my reaction here you're thinking, he probably didn't like this this episode or this scene, and you'd be right. Not that I didn't like the episode, but it's one of those things. It's a little too, what's the word, melodramatic for me, right? Like you can have, okay, so a scene like this, I can understand happening, let's say, 3 seasons in, when they've already gone through hell of a lot more than what they already have in this season, right? Like 3 seasons in, at the end of the 3rd season, you can have a shouting match like this, right? Where both characters are crying because they've been through so much, and like you know, you have this epic, super like shout match fight between them. Like, sure, you can have that like after like 3 seasons, but like I feel like here it was a little, I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously, throughout the entire season, I've been saying that, you know, most likely, like, I can't wait until Yoshiki kind of, you know, has his outburst, right? And he did definitely have that here, but it felt unnecessary. Or maybe it felt unnecessary because I felt like his reasoning was naive, which it was. That could be the reason as well. Really hard to say, to be honest. I think what I don't like, and maybe the story will eventually kind of talk about this, maybe address this, but the thing that I don't like is that, let's be honest here, Yoshiki 100% is dependent on Hikaru, right? 100%. He is extremely dependent, like emotionally. And this kind of loops back around to what, again, me saying that I liked how they were like talking to other people on their own, right? Like that's why I kind of like it so much, that that they talk to other characters on their own, is that it shows that maybe Hikaru and Yoshiki can both kind of move on from each other and actually live like fuller lives, because being so emotionally dependent on someone to the point where them saying that, hey, I'm gonna go back up to the mountain to save everybody, you react like this, where you immediately start yelling at them and panicking and like losing your mind almost, right? Like if this is your reaction, you're way too invested. Like sure, this is your friend, potentially your new friend, I guess you could say, but you know, it's clear that Yoshiki is very, very invested. I feel like he's in a position of unhealthy investment in their relationship, to the point where, like he was saying that, you know, fuck everybody else. I feel like this is a situation where if you ask them, hey, who would you choose, Hikaru or your family, he would probably choose Hikaru, or say like, fuck everybody else, right? It's like when you've gotten to that point, it's not healthy, at least in my opinion. And so ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that I don't like the fact that it's clearly kind of unhealthy for him, and then whenever they have an opportunity to make him grow and say no to this unhealthy relationship, they instead, you know, they have Yoshiki have his outburst, and then Hikaru kind of lets it happen. Hikaru, as well as all the other characters potentially who know, kind of just agree with him, and they're never like forced apart to actually grow as individuals, right? And kind of have a little bit of distance to help Yoshiki with his unhealthy obsession, his unhealthy investment. Every single time it feels like, you know, Yoshiki's gonna have that moment where he is separated from Hikaru or has to kind of mature. He lashes out, has his, you know, outburst moment, and then they go right back to being together, and his investment in their unhealthy relationship kind of continues, or his unhealthy investment. It's a little bit harder to know what Hikaru is thinking, but you know, it's very, very clear that, at least to me, it's that, you know, Yoshiki has a little bit of unhealthy investment in this relationship. And instead of having moments where he matures out of it, they kind of just reinforce that and make him fall deeper and deeper into the hole. I think what I would have accepted a little bit more is if they have this kind of this I don't want to call it a fight, but this interaction, this confrontation, and then Hikaru leaves anyway, right? Or maybe convinces him that it's for the greater good, right? And then you kind of leave off the season with Hikaru having left, Yoshiki is sad, maybe you show some other characters, you know, set up some season 2 stuff, and you know, and then maybe start season 2 with, like, you know, Yoshiki and Hikaru being kind of separated for a time, and then you have Yoshiki mature, well, both of them mature a little, and then they meet up again to deal with, you know, whatever else supernatural problems the show might have. That's basically what I thought might happen, but again, I feel like instead, Yoshiki managed to convince him, and he's stuck around. I mean, again, I don't really know where they're gonna go with this, but ultimately, I feel like the fight, the physical aspect of the fight was unnecessary. A little too melodramatic for me, you know, but it is what it is. Oh, and by the way, when I said I don't like that Yoshiki is so invested to an unhealthy degree, I don't mean that I don't like that that the story is doing that. I mean, like, I don't like it in the sense that it makes me uncomfortable because, you know, I don't like him being so invested. Not that it's that I don't like the show doing that. You get what I mean. And finally, I wanted to talk about this scene again a little bit. With Asako finding out the truth. I think, not gonna lie, probably if there was one scene that probably made me feel the most in the whole show so far in the first season, is this one, probably. And I think, dude, I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's just the scene. Maybe it's the voice direction, or maybe it's just the voice actress. But it's the, I mean, it's so good. Fuck. It's the way she kind of goes from normal, and then halfway through the sentence, or like the thing that she's saying, she kind of starts losing it, you know? Because it's very real. It just feels real, right? I don't know why, but this just, her performance just gets to me. I think I know what it is. To leave this off on a final little rant, little side tangent, but I think it's because she speaks normally. Because when you think about anime, you think Japanese voice acting, and you think about the very overacted kind of, you know, cutesy girl voices for anime characters, for anime girls. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You can look at pretty much any anime coming out, and 9 times out of 10, the female voice actresses, like, they kind of put on a more of a cutesy voice, right? And no one actually sounds like that in real life. So hearing her speak like
出
this,
したんやね。
そっか。なんとなく。
like she's not putting any voice on. I feel like this is what actual people sound like, right? This is what actual Japanese, normal Japanese girl would sound like in real life. I think that's what it is. And then the performance makes it feel real.
そうやろな。
And the lack of music as well. It's like, it just feels real. Such a good performance. I'm not gonna lie, with that one scene, she probably became my favorite character. But yeah, that was episode 12, the final episode of season 1 of The Summer Hikaru Died. Not the strongest ending to a season I've ever seen, to be honest, kind of weak actually. But most likely, they didn't have much to work with, because, you know, they're adapting a manga, I believe. Probably just the fault of the manga, not having any kind of like big, proper build-up to a climactic moment where they could end it off on. Because, you know, again, manga, completely different medium. It's not like they create the manga to then adapt an anime off of it, right? So it is what it is. I guess we'll be back with season 2 whenever that happens. Until then, ladies and gents, I shall bid you adieu.